Today we are going to talk about UN, United Nations, the UN system informally called UN family, which includes UN itself along with many affiliated programs, agencies, funds, etc., all with their own membership, leadership and budget. So let us begin with what is United Nations, when was it formed? United Nations is an intergovernmental organization founded in 1945 when 51 member countries signed a document called UN Charter in San Francisco. The main focus of the preamble of the United Nations is to save succeeding generations from scourge of war, which has twice before 1945 has brought untold sorrows to mankind and reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights. Currently, the United Nations comprises of 193 nation states. The main organs of United Nations are: number one, UNGA, that is United Nations General Assembly. It is located in New York. UNGA, it is the main deliberative, policy making and representative body of the United Nations. All members of the UN are represented here. Thus, it is the only body of the United Nations which has universal representation. Here, the decisions on important questions such as on peace and security, admission of new members, budgetary issues, etc., are passed with 2/3 majority of the GA, while other questions are passed with just simple majority. Every year, a GA president is elected to serve a 1-year term of office. So, UNGA is one organ of United Nations. The second organ of United Nations is UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council. It is said that it is the only organ of UN which has a teeth to bite. It has primary responsibility under the UN Charter, number one, for maintenance of international peace and security. It has 15 members, 5 are the permanent members and 10 are non-permanent members who are elected every 2 years. They are elected for 2 years terms, and the 5 permanent member comprises of US, UK, France, Russia and China. Each member has one vote. The 5 permanent members have played an important role in the formation of United Nations. Hence, the UN Charter grants them a right to veto or the negative vote. If any permanent member casts a negative vote or uses veto in the 15-membered UNSC, the decision would not be approved. And in case permanent member does not want to use veto but disagree on certain issue, in that case it may choose to abstain, and thus allowing the resolution to be adopted if it is passed by a required number of 9 favorable votes. UNSC can impose sanctions or even authorize the use of force to restore or to maintain international peace and security if the concerned parties or the concerned countries do not agree for a peaceful resolution on certain issues. The UNSC has a presidency that rotates and changes every month. The UNSC also has some subsidiary organs under it, like the Counter-Terrorism Committee is there under UNSC, Military Staff Committee is there, Sanctions Committee is there, and so on. And the third important organ of United Nations is your Economic and Security Council. It is the principal body for coordination, policy review, policy deliberation, dialogues and recommendation on economic, social and environmental issues, as well as implementation of internationally agreed developmental goals. It has 54 members elected by UNGA for overlapping 3 years terms, and last year India has been re-elected to United Nations Economic and Social Council. Number 4 is the Trusteeship Council. It was established in 1945 to provide international supervision for 11 trust territories that has been placed under the administration of 7 member states, and ensure that adequate steps be taken to prepare these territories for self-governance and independence. And since all of these trust territories have gained independence or self-governance by 1994, the Trusteeship Council has suspended its operation since November 1994. Now it meets only occasionally by its own decision or the decision of its president, or at the request of the majority of its members, or at the request of UN General Assembly or UNSC. The fifth most important organ of UN is ICJ, that is International Court of Justice. It is the principal judicial organ of the United Nations. It is located at Hague, Netherlands. This is the only organ of United Nations out of 6 organs which is located outside New York. It settles disputes in accordance with international laws or gives advisory opinions or decisions, legal questions referred to it by the authorized UN organs and specialized agencies. And the last 6th organ of United Nations is its Secretariat. It carries out day-to-day work of the United Nations. Its chief administrative officer is called the United Nations General Secretary, who is appointed by the United Nations General Assembly on the recommendations of the Security Council for a 5-year renewable term. So these 6 are the important organs of United Nations. Now we will talk about some important programs and funds of United Nations. The important programs and funds, they are financed through voluntary contributions by the member states. So one of the important program is UNDP, United Nations Development Program. It was established in 1965. It works in nearly 170 countries, helping to eradicate poverty, reduce inequalities and build resilience so countries can sustain progress. It also plays important role in helping countries to attain their SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals. It is headquartered in New York, and since 1990 it has been publishing the Human Development Report. Another important program of United Nations is UNICEF, that is United Nations Children's Fund. It provides long-term humanitarian and development assistance to children and mothers. It was created in 1946 and was earlier called United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, but since 1953 it's called United Nations Children's Fund. It is headquartered at New York. Another one is UNHCR, which has been in news quite often for some time because of the refugee issues across the globe. So UNHCR is United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. It protects the rights worldwide of the refugees and facilitates their return home or resettlement. It was created in 1950 and it is headquartered in Geneva. Since 1954, it has been awarded with Nobel Peace Prize also for its groundbreaking work in Europe. It also gives annual awards to individuals or organizations who support refugees, internally displaced and stateless people. And the name of the award is Nansen Refugee Award. Then another important program of United Nations is WFP, World Food Program. It was established in 1961. It is headquartered at Rome. It's the world's largest humanitarian agency with the aim to eradicate hunger and malnutrition from across the globe. Another one is UNFPA, that is United Nations Population Fund, earlier called United Nations Fund for Population Activities. It is headquartered in New York It's the lead UN agency for delivering a world where every pregnancy is wanted, where every birth is safe and every young person's potential is fulfilled. So it works for the overall development of human population. Then comes UNCTAD, that is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It is again headquartered in Geneva. It deals with developmental issues, particularly international trade, the main driver of development. Its conference is held every 2 years, and the its conference is held every 4 years, and the second conference was held in Delhi in India in 1968. Then another one is UNEP, that is United Nations Environmental Program, United Nations Environment Program. It was established in 1972. It is headquartered at Nairobi, Kenya. It is the leading global environmental authority. It acts as a catalyst, advocate, educator and facilitator to promote the wise use and sustainable development of global environment. It also hosts the secretariats of many critical multilateral environmental agreements and research bodies, such as the Convention on Biological Diversity, the Minamata Convention on Mercury, the Tehran Convention on Caspian Sea, etc. UNEP also gives awards and recognition, and it recognizes the individuals and organizations who work towards climate change, sustainable development and other environmental related aspects. The awards are like the Champions of the Earth award is there. It is given by UNEP. Then SEED awards, that is Sustainable Development and Green Economy. It is given to support locally driven entrepreneurships. Then we have UNEP Sasakawa Prize, which is for promotion of sustainable development. And then we have Ozone Awards for contribution. Ozone Awards are given for contribution to the progress and achievements of the Montreal Protocol. And last year, that is November 2017, 4 Indians have been given this prestigious awards, and the 4 Indians were Mr. Anil Madhav Dave, Mr. Chandra Bhushan, Professor R.S. Agarwal and Mr. Atul Bagai. Then comes UN Habitat. It is again located in Kenya, like UNEP, Kenya, Nairobi. Then UN Habitat, that is United Nations Human Settlement Program. It is working towards socially and environmentally sustainable human settlements, development and the achievement of adequate shelter for all. Last year, that is 2017, India has been elected for the 3rd time as its president since its inception in 1978. Then another important program under UN is UN Women. As the name suggests, this is dedicated for gender equality and empowerment of women. It was created in 2010 and it is headquartered in New York City. Now, after these important funds and programs, we will be talking about UN specialized agencies. There are 15 UN specialized agencies. Now, there is a difference between the funds and programs and specialized agencies. These agencies, UN specialized agencies, are autonomous organizations working with the UN. They have been brought into relationship with the United Nations through negotiated agreements, through negotiated terms. Unlike the UN funds and programs which are established by and report to the United Nations General Assembly, these specialized agencies are legally independent of the United Nations and have separate budgets, members, rules and personnel. Some, like ILO, that is International Labour Organization, has been in existence even before the formation of United Nations in 1945. So let us talk one by one these 15. Let us talk about these 15 specialized agencies. Number one comes your ILO, that is International Labour Organization. It is the first specialized agency of the United Nations in 1946. Though it was created in 1919 as a part of Treaty of Versailles that ended the First World War. It works towards setting up of labor standards, develop policies and devise programs promoting decent working environment for all women and men. The ILO is headquartered in Geneva. Then comes FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. It is the organization which is fighting against hunger to achieve food security for all. It is headquartered in Rome. Then comes UNESCO. UNESCO is a specialized agency. It is different from UNICEF or UNEP. UNESCO is a specialized agency. So UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. It is headquartered in France, Paris. It is headquartered in Paris. Now, it contributes to peace and security by promoting collaboration amongst nations through education, scientific measures and culture. It selects World Heritage Sites. Last year, that is in 2017, US has withdrawn from the membership of UNESCO. Then comes ICAO, that is International Civil Aviation Organization, which was established in 1944. It manages the administration and governance of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, that is also called Chicago Convention. It develops standards for global air transport. Then comes WHO, a well-known body, World Health Organization. The WHO Constitution was adopted in 1946 and the organization formally came into existence in 1948. Its objective is the attainment by all people of the highest possible levels of their health. It is headquartered in Geneva. Now, the World Bank and IMF, International Monetary Fund, these two Bretton Woods twins, they are also called Bretton Woods twins. These two Bretton Woods twins are also the part of United Nations. They were established in 1944. The World Bank provides loans, credits, grants, etc. to the countries, especially developing countries, and IMF helps the countries to sail through the issues, the problems of balance of payment crisis. Then another important is Universal Postal Union, UPU. Though it is established by the Berne Treaty or the Berne Convention of 1874, it became United Nations Specialized Agency in 1948. It aims to secure and improve the postal services across the globe. It is headquartered in Bern, Switzerland. Then International Telecommunication Union, ITU. It is committed to connecting all the people across the world, wherever they live and whatever their means. It was founded in 1865 in Paris as International Telegraph Union. It allocates global radio spectrum and satellite orbits. It is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Then WMO, World Meteorological Organization. Earlier it was called International Meteorological Organization, established in 1873, and formally it came into existence in 1950 and became a UN specialized agency in 1951. As the name suggests, it's a meteorological organization, so it facilitates the free international exchange of meteorological data and information and furtherance of these data and information in its use in aviation, shipping, security, agriculture, among other things. It is headquartered in London, United Kingdom. Then WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. As the name suggests, it protects intellectual property rights throughout the world. It is headquartered in Geneva. It protects the intellectual property rights to promote innovation and creativity for the benefit of humankind. Then comes IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture Development. IFAD. It's an international financial institution and specialized UN agency dedicated to eradicate poverty and hunger in rural areas of the developing countries. It is headquartered in Rome. Then UNIDO, UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. The mandate of this organization is to promote industrial development and international industrial cooperation to reduce poverty through sustainable industrial development across the globe. It is established as a UN program in 1966 and became a specialized agency of United Nations in 1985. So earlier it was a UN program and it graduated into a UN specialized agency. It is headquartered in Vienna, Austria. Then UNWTO, that is World Tourism Organization. It is responsible for the promotion of responsible, sustainable and universally accessible tourism. So these were the 15 important specialized agencies of United Nations. And there are some other entities also like UNAIDS. So this is just a joint UN program on HIV and AIDS which is co-sponsored by 10 United Nations system agencies like UNHCR, UNICEF, World Population Fund, UNDP, UNFPA, WFP, UNODC, ILO, UNESCO, WHO and World Bank. Similarly, there is UNISDR, that is United Nations Office for Disaster Reduction. Then we have UNOPS, UNOPS, that is UN Office for Project Services. It's an operational arm of United Nations. It supports United Nations in the successful implementation of peace building, humanitarian and developmental projects across the globe. So these are the important parts of United Nations family, the formally called United Nations system.